Can you tell us your name and your role at the club?
Yeah, so my name's Scott Teister and I'm the strength and conditioning coach at the club.
How do you measure a player's performance? Is it data-based or do you work off the players and your own intuition?
Yeah, a little bit of both. So we'll collect data at the start of the season and we'll also collect data throughout the season, and I guess every week as well we have monitors in place, so we're constantly collecting loads of data and we're using that data to see where the guys' super strengths are and maybe where they need to improve in that areas of improvement. So we use the data quite a lot, but we also use our what we see on the pitch as well. We might be feeding back from the coaches. For example, the head coach might be, okay, this person's not pressing hard enough, therefore, okay, what can we break down from a physical perspective, and then can we use the objective data to back up potentially what we're seeing on pitch, so we can put goals for players and then we can develop these areas. So it might be areas that they're weak at, or it might be areas where they're actually pretty strong at, but we want to make it into a super strength.
When it comes to an individual player like Ash, for example, what would you consider when setting individual objectives for them, and how does it differ from the programme for a striker versus a defender or a goalkeeper?
Yeah, so there's so many factors in terms of the programme that we look at, but again, initially we'll sit down with the player, we'll look at kind of exercise preference, because ideally we want buy-in, so we want them to enjoy the programme first and foremost. If they enjoy the programme, they're going to do the programme, higher adherence, they got better outcomes, which is what we want. So we want them to do something they're enjoying on a daily basis, but we also want to link that back into their data. So whatever we've collected and we've identified as weaknesses or strengths, we want to try and develop that. Maybe based on previous injury history, so they might have had an injury in the past that we want to try and make strong, so make sure it never happens again. Or might be they've been susceptible to a certain injury or something like that, so we want to make sure they're nice and strong from that perspective. But from a positional perspective, you look at Ash is really fast, really good in the air. That might differ from someone who's a wing back who's kind of running all day, whereas Ash might be a really hard press, but then he needs to make a recovery run. So again, it's just little bits that might be slightly different from a positional perspective for Ash. So again, he's really strong, he's really explosive, so we want to try and make those strengths super strengths while also protecting him from injuries. We don't want him to pick up injuries and he can't train, he can't play, so that's what we want to try and minimise.
Specifically about the exercises, can you tell us about the exercises which you'll choose for a player like Ash and what each specific exercise will do for a player?
Yeah, so for Ash, we want to try and get him strong and powerful, because that's what he's good at on the pitch. So it'll be a lot of kind of heavy lifts to develop strength, and a lot of kind of fast exercises, plyometry exercises to develop kind of speed and power qualities in Ash. So you see him jump up in the air for a high ball, and he's pretty good in there. So it's like, how do we make him just a little bit better? How do we make him faster? So it's a lot of fast movements, explosive movements that we'll see Ash do in the gym, as well as maybe some kind of smaller areas, making areas more robust. So for example, making sure his hamstrings are nice and strong, or his groins are nice and strong, to be able to cope with the demands of, if he's pressing and turning, he needs to be really strong around the hip. So it might be kind of more low level exercises that protect him from those injuries.
Can you tell us a bit about nutrition? Do you have an input in what the players eat and how much food they're eating?
Yeah, so with nutrition, we've kind of got 2 windows of opportunities at the club. So we say within the first 30 minutes, we want them to get a carbohydrate and a protein hit straight away. So the easiest way for us to do that is through supplements. We have the protein shakers, we have a carbohydrate and protein mix that we give to the players. It's all again individualized to each player, so each player has slightly different preferences, whether that's taste, whether that's carbs and protein makeup. So they'll have that within 30 minutes of finishing their session or finishing the game. And then we like to look at a 90-minute window where they get a big feed. So we work with our nutrition partner, Nourish Takeout, who then provide nutrient-rich meals for the guys. So they have that lunch as soon as they finish, or once they finish the game, we get that big kind of feed in off the back. So it's plenty of carbohydrates, plenty of protein for the guys, so they can repair and then they can refuel their muscles to ready to go again.
What role does strength and conditioning play in recovering from and preventing injuries?
So I think strength and conditioning is massive. Number 1 goal is to prevent injuries. I think most of the muscular injuries we can try and prevent, I think with a really good solid strength and conditioning program. Secondly, we look at trying to improve performance. So if we can keep the guys fit and available to train, the more they train, the better, because they're going to get better and the team's going to do a lot better as well. But we can also look to maximise things like strength and power that has a direct link into what they might do in the game. For example, a goalkeeper diving, how fast can we get them diving, how high can we get them jumping, how fast can we get a striker pressing, how fast can we get a wing back running up the wing. So I think it's vital within our programme, and there's a big emphasis this year in terms of trying to get boys strong, fit and robust. So we're the strongest, fittest team in the league.
What's an exercise that players hate doing? Is there any that they enjoy more, or do they give you any grief?
Probably on a daily basis there is definitely some grief. I'd say, it kind of depends. Some individuals like certain exercises, some really hate them. I'd probably say the worst one that gets a lot of grief is probably the Nordic. And we've got the Nord boards, we can measure the force of the guys' hamstrings when they're doing the exercise. So there's no hiding place. They absolutely hate it, but again, it's a key lift that we do to try and prevent hamstring injuries.